Hey everybody, Namo here. So it's Saturday, so it's the weekend, so it's time to work on the shed, but it rained this morning. It's about 10:30 and it stopped raining, but it's still pretty overcast. So we'll be able to work on the shed, but we're not going to be able to work on the platform very well. So what I had planned to do with this today was I was going to start a little fire in the fire pit, and the kids and I were going to start ripping this apart and throwing everything we could, all the wood, into the fire pit. And it's wet, so it's not going to burn. But I think we're still going to try and pile this up the best we can, pull some nails out of it so it's not in my fire pit. And whatever usable wood, if there's any, I'll salvage. But that's pretty much about it. Alright, so right now we're going to move this shed back. As you can see, it moved sideways about 4 or 5 inches, and it moved back about a foot. So I'm going to move this back, and then we're going to start working on getting it secured. Alright, so I've grabbed these pieces of scrap wood that came out of those steps we took down. And I'm going to put them in all 4 corners, and I'm going to Tapcon them. So, forgot to show you. There's a outlet here that came with, they had it there for the pool, but I don't know if you can see the little green light. That means that it's got power, but every single time we try and use it, nothing works. And we can't, it's a GFI, so we keep hitting the test and reset button, but nothing pops. So I think it's just a bad GFI, and I'm going to have to replace it. So I'm going to need to use that outlet, that extension cord, because the hammer drill and the circular saw are both wired. So what I'm gonna need to, I've got these Tapcons. So here's a concrete bit for it. You drill a hole in the concrete, and then you use a driver to put these Tapcons in. They're basically just concrete screws. And I'll be putting them in with my drill driver, which I need to charge the battery, so I'm going to go ahead and get that plugged up. But I'm going to get everything set up and ready, and then we'll get to it. Alright, so I was just saying I had scrap pieces of wood. I have grabbed 4, but as you can see, I've got 2, 3. The 4th one was bowed really bad and cracked everywhere. So it's trash. It's gone into the burn pile. But I'm going to cut this one in half. This is my granddad's circular saw, and got left to me when he passed. So I'm going to put it to some good use. I just wanted to show you guys something that's never really been taught in like shows and books that I've seen. When you go to plug something up through an extension cord, knot it up like this, because when it pulls, See, I'm pulling on it as hard as I can. It's not coming loose. If you didn't have it knotted like that and you yank on your cord, it's coming unplugged. So knot it up, that way it doesn't come apart. So we're going to get this cut. We're going to get those pieces put in the corner, and we're going to get them put in. Well, I think I may need a new saw blade, but got the piece cut at least. Got all the pieces in the corners. Now we're going to drill some holes and put in some Tapcons. Alright, so now I have a bead of caulk in each corner. And I used DAP, which is a really good brand, but I ran out. I got both those corners. I got that corner above this shelf, and I got that corner above this shelf, and then I ran out of the DAP. So I went scrounging through the house, and we found a tube of caulk that the previous homeowners had used or bought. It wasn't open, it was brand new, so it's kind of a stroke of luck. So I got a bead in that corner under the shelf and that corner under the shelf, so it's all sealed up other than, you know, those two holes. Still gotta figure out what I'm gonna do about that. But I mean, it does have vents, so it's not like the whole thing's gonna be airtight, and there's still gonna be, you know, you're still gonna be seeing sun around the corners. So yeah, now it's all sealed up tight, and kind of glad I found that tube of caulk. previous homeowners apparently used the stuff religiously, because when we gutted the basement, it was everywhere. We had to just strip a bunch of caulk out. And yes, I know it's a weird pronunciation. I know there's jokes, but I have issues pronouncing the word. So yeah, it might come out sounding like I'm saying something else, but I'm not. There's definitely a lot of caulk everywhere in the house. But yeah, so found an unused tube, popped it open, started using it. It's got to be old, because it did not want to work. Also don't have the best caulk gun, because that was pretty much free. A maintenance man from my fiance's apartment building kind of left it, and the piston is bent, so you got to keep finagling it. So I'm gonna have to get me an actual good one. But it's done. So all that's left now is just to put the plants in here, and then take those straw bales that you saw me cut the wood on and start insulating. And you just scatter it over top of the plants, but you'll see, because we'll get that done. But I'm just going to go ahead and move the plants, get it insulated, and then that'll probably be the next time you see me, is just me showing you what I did. So, alright, so I was able to get a small fire started. I've got the kids pulling up bits of the base, what used to be the base, and I've began moving plants. So I've started with my bigger ones, with the Nandinas and the roses. And as I get a few rows going in, I'm grabbing the straw and insulating. So when you undo a bale of hay, of course, you get the little red twine, which is very useful. And they come apart in flakes. So here's a flake. We're going to get half a flake, and you just shake it out where it needs to go. Excuse me, the camera is kind of hard to... So you just shake it all around. That creates a barrier for the heat. Now, this thing, I've had the door open this whole time, and it's at least 10 to 15 degrees warmer in here than it is outside. Probably because it's not getting any of the wind flow, but with the caulking and now throwing in the hay and having everything all sealed up where it needs to be, it's going to retain some heat, or at least warmth. So effectively, I've turned the shed into a cold frame. So with the windows and the skylights and everything, it'll get good enough sun. Every now and then, I'm going to leave a little pathway from the door up the middle. Probably put another row of plants here. Just have a pathway coming in. Just have plants along that side, plants along that side, and just straw everywhere. That way, when it comes time to actually water, which I shouldn't need to water that much once I have them in here, I'll just be able to come in here with the water hose, just spray everything down real good, and walk out. Now, thankfully, I'm fluffing the straw up enough to where there's air pockets, because any straw, hay, barley farmer, they know if you store compressed straw bales, hay bales, barley bales, oh my gosh, if you store compressed bales that have gotten some kind of moisture in them somehow, there's some kind of, I honestly don't know how to explain it, but they get so hot they actually catch themselves on fire. So I'm trying to avoid that which it should avoid it pretty well, because I mean, even though I am adding moisture to the straw, it's not going to get compressed, and it shouldn't, you know, self-combust like that. So that's the progress I'm making at the moment. Just wanted to give a quick update, let you know all the process of what I'm doing and why, and I'll get back to it now. Okay, so if you can see, I'm a little hot. So I've been working my butt off. Kids have been working their butts off too. They stopped to eat some lunch, but they've been doing pretty good. I'm pretty proud of them. So let's show you what we've accomplished. So to begin with, I used about a bale and a third, and all my plants are covered all around, all in here. They all fit. I don't know if you can see, but there's this little, I kind of made a little walkway, and there, now I'm at my plants. So I can reach every single corner I need to with my water hose. Thankfully, I bought a pretty long water hose, and it'll reach up here, no problem. So we've been burning the bits of the base we could. We were pulling screws and nails, but the stuff was so rotten, I just said, screw it, let's throw it in there. We'll get the nails out of there once it's all said and done. So here is the base so far. So they got everything pretty well pulled up. There's still a couple pieces that are in the ground a little bit, but they'll come up. So we're going to take these bits that are still somewhat good. We're going to throw them over here by my son's window, so that later on at some point we can pull these nails and save this wood, because this wood's still pretty good. So right now I'm just kind of sifting through all of this, find all the rotten wood that needs to be gotten rid of. We're throwing it up here in the fire. Of course, none of us is staying around it, because, you know, there's paint and a lot of it's treated wood, so we don't need to be breathing in the fumes. But as we were pulling nails, we found one that didn't look quite right, and it was in a board that was really rotten. So I was able to bust it open, and it's an arrowhead. We found that, and it's still really sharp. We found that one of the bits of wood from the base. So somebody was hunting over here in the neighbor's field, however long ago. I mean, that tip, all the shiny was what was embedded in the wood. This was sticking out, so that's why we thought it was a nail. Started driving it out. It's an arrowhead, so somebody was hunting over here, I guess, and took a wild shot, and it came over the fence, and it actually landed about right there, right underneath the shed. So it was kind of fun to see. I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, that's where we are so far. So shed looks a whole lot better, especially since it's set on the concrete correctly. And yes, once I did secure and Tapcon all four corners, I got out here and I shoved as hard as I could, and it didn't move. So right now this is all I need to do with the shed. So I'm going to close it up, and probably once a month I'll come in here and water everything. And yeah, it's freezing cold right here. Very comfortable right here, and I'm just barely even in the door. And like I said, the door's been open all day long. So yeah, this is going to work great. So thanks for watching, and we're going to keep cleaning up that little pile down there. I don't think there's really anything else to record, so it's about all I've got for today, and we're almost done. Just clean up. That's all we got to do, and it'll all be done. So Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.